Time after time, Pharaoh had promised to let the Israelites leave Egypt. Time after time, he had changed his mind. This time, however, things were going to be very different. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites that each man is to take a lamb for his family. At twilight, each lamb has to be killed and its blood smeared on the doorposts of their houses. This will keep them safe when I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn of both people and animals. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you and your family." That evening, the Israelites dressed ready to leave Egypt and sat down for a meal they would later call the Passover, because the Lord would pass over them and keep them safe. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on the throne, to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of all the livestock as well. Pharaoh and all his officials and all the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was loud wailing in Egypt, for there was not a house without someone dead. During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Up, leave my people, you and the Israelites. Go, worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and herds as you have said, and go, and also bless me." The Egyptians urged the people to hurry and leave the country, "For otherwise," they said, "we will all die." The Israelites did as Moses instructed and asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. The Lord had made the Egyptians favorably disposed towards the people, and they gave them what they asked for. The Israelite people had lived in Egypt for 430 years. At the end of this time, to the very day, all the Lord's people left Egypt. Every year, for the generations to come, all the people of Israel were to keep vigil on this night to honor the Lord who had rescued them. The people of Israel had escaped, it was true, but things did not run smoothly. Yet again, Pharaoh had second thoughts. Jesus and his newfound followers were in Capernaum, on the coast of the Sea of Galilee. These close followers of Jesus are normally called disciples. Disciples are there to learn. On the Saturday, or Sabbath as it was called, Jesus and his disciples went to the synagogue as usual in order to worship God. The Sabbath is a day of rest when no work may be done. After the prayers and the readings from the scriptures, Jesus was asked to preach. The people were amazed at his teaching. He taught them as one who had authority, not as their own teachers of the law. Just then, a man who was possessed by an evil spirit cried out, "What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." "Be quiet," said Jesus sternly. "Come out of him." The demon threw the man to the floor. Then it came out of the man, leaving the man unharmed. Everyone was amazed. They asked each other, "What is this? A new teaching, and with authority. He even gives orders to evil spirits and they obey him." News about him spread quickly over the whole region of Galilee. Jesus left the synagogue and walked to Simon Peter's house. Simon's mother-in-law was very ill with a high fever. They asked Jesus to do something for her. He stood over her and rebuked the fever. It left her, and immediately she got up and started to get them all a meal. By sunset, word had gone around the whole neighborhood, and people who had anyone sick brought them to Jesus. He laid hands on each one, and all of them were healed. Demons also came out of many of them, crying out, "You are the Christ, the Son of God." Jesus forbade them to speak like that. The name Christ meant for the people the same as the word Messiah. Jesus did not want people to think of him as the Messiah, because by Messiah they thought of a leader with a great army who would fight and rescue them from the Romans. Jesus was not that sort of leader. He leads us to a kingdom that is not of this world. His kingdom is in the hearts of men. Questions. Question 1. What sign made the angel of death pass over the Israelites' houses? Question 2. What was it about Jesus that so impressed the people? Practical. During the Sunday liturgy, the priest and deacon come out with the book of the Gospels, process round and enter the altar through the royal doors. The book of the Gospels is an icon of Christ, not as a picture, but an icon in words. It is customary, as the book of the Gospels is carried past you, to make the sign of the cross and a little bow. In this way we honour our Lord Jesus Christ. In a few moments, as the Gospel is read, he will be addressing each of us with the same authority as he taught the people in the synagogue. So we must listen carefully.